you, Ms White. I call Kenneth Gibson.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And I speak in support of Amendment 122 by my colleague John Mason. A particular area of concern in this bill has been its potential impact on the female prison population. Whatever the reason for a woman being imprisoned, what matters is that they are in the Scottish Government's custody and care, and it falls upon ministers to do their utmost to ensure that these often vulnerable women are safe while serving their time. A 2011 Swedish cohort study analysed crime rates after surgical sex reassignment of male to female, that was my alarm, I'm glad to say, trans people, and found that they retained a male pattern regarding criminality and violent crime. So trans women are therefore no more or less likely to commit crimes than any other biological males. Official UK Government data shows that as of March this year, the total number of transgender prisoners in England and Wales was 230, 97 of whom are sex offenders, around 42%. Of the general male prison population in England and Wales, 19% are sex offenders. In the United States, of the federal system's 1,143 male-to-female transitioners, nearly half have a history of sexual offences. So given that trans women are no more likely than other anatomical males to commit sexual offences, the obvious corollary is that there must be a significant number of sex offenders in prison who falsely claim to be trans. The danger is that men who commit sexual offences may claim to be transgender in order to avoid imprisonment in the men's estate. And the very presence of anatomical males in women's prisons can cause distress to vulnerable female prisoners, many of whom have been the victim of male violence. A key issue with this bill is that by making it easier to acquire a GRC, more male sex offenders may pretend to be trans in order to be incarcerated in a female prison, whether to prey on women or do easier time. Unlike in England, Scotland's prison service already uses individualised risk assessments to determine how trans prisoners are managed, whether those prisoners have a gender recognition certificate or not. However, in November 2021, it was reported in the Times that 12 trans prisoners convicted of violence or sexual crimes had been accommodated in Scottish women's jails within the previous 18 months, according to figures released under Freedom of Information. So the review the Cabinet Secretary spoke of earlier is welcome, if belated. Rona Hotchkiss, former Governor of Conton Vale Prison, and a constituent of mine said women were being exploited as, and I quote, unwilling participants in a social experiment. By being housed alongside trans women, adding that women are being told, and again I quote, their concerns, their fears, their despair must take second place to the feelings of men who identify as women. I therefore firmly believe that no one who is anatomically male should be incarcerated in a women's prison. The inconvenient truth is that trans women are physically male and, as a group, present the same hazard that other men present. Those who pretend to be trans, even more so. If a fox said it was a chicken, would you put it in a hen house? Of course not. Now, back in 2015, an American woman who identified as black and was a chapter president for the National Association for the Advancement of Coloured People was outed as being entirely of European heritage. Denounced worldwide, she lost her university job teaching the black women's struggle and was accused of being a race faker, of wearing a costume and lying to claim ownership over a painful and complicated history she wasn't born into. Yet if she'd declared herself to be a bloke rather than black, everyone would have been expected to agree with that self-identification. This is real emperor's new clothes stuff. Reality must intrude at some point. Allowing anatomical males who self-identify as women into prison is unacceptable and a safeguarding nightmare. Support Amendment 122.